Hello, everyone. This is Francine Crawford. I am here today to host My Two Cents. Now, you know what My Two Cents is. I know that you've seen this before. If you haven't, My Two Cents is where we discuss the last show of Autumn is Here. The last show of Autumn is Here, my podcast. And that last show was a comedian and a caregiver. And it was really good and very enlightening. Sometimes we think that we need people who are professional in the fields and healthcare professionals, things like that, to give us some revelations. And sometimes you just need people who are caregivers to just express themselves and share what's actually going on. And this can help you. So today on My Two Cents, we're going to discuss the life of Ms. Hasmin Garza, who was a comedian and she turned caregiver. She lived in Brooklyn and she had to go to Arizona to take care of her mom who had dementia. And some of us may have had that experience before, but everybody's experience is different. But I'm glad to see y'all on tonight. I really appreciate y'all listening in today. Now, if you haven't seen the show, then it's okay. You can go back, you can go to YouTube and you can watch it at any time. On Autumn is Here podcast, on my podcast channel, Francine Crawford. You can go back and look at it, but that doesn't mean that you can't be here and listen to some of the comments and just talk about the subject matter. The subject matter is caregiving. The caregiving is, it's something that's really, really deep, and people don't realize it until they get into it, and then they are surprised by what happens. So today we're going to talk about it, about Miss Hasmin, her experience with it. Now, she used to live in Brooklyn, where it was like noisy and active and all that kind of stuff, to go to Arizona, where it was quiet and peaceful. And she had to live in a community with older people because her mom, that's where her mother lived. So it's really a big, big change. And sometimes you have to make that change. Hello, Franklin. Good to see you. Hi, Toya. Glad to see you're watching, where you're watching from. How you doing? Hopefully, some of you have saw the show and you can comment on it. But it was a very good show and very enlightening. It was so many points that she gave, so many points. So I'm so grateful that she was able to give the time to us, even when she talked in the beginning about, kind of being in denial. And sometimes that happens when you're a caregiver. Sometimes you're in denial, and in the beginning, for whatever reason, the reality of it, you have to go there and you have to see your parents in person, and then you're able to realize that there's an issue. You may not know the depth of it, but there's an issue and you have to take some action. So she took action and she became her mom's primary caregiver. So I'm very grateful to her for giving the story. So I'm not here alone. I'm here. Evelyn Wilson is here. Hey, Vanessa. Hey, Lizette. Um,
Hello.
hi, Evelyn. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good to see you. Upside down. Thank you for joining us today. I was just telling them how we're going to talk about the last show, which was community and caregiver. So I really appreciate people tuning in today to My Two Cents, and let's get into it, because there's so many things that she brought up in this changing her whole lifestyle, which was great, and going to live in an older community from someone who's young and vibrant and living in a New York community. So that was really good. And it's something that people have to think about. You may have to just uproot yourself and go and move, and that's a big move. That's a big move, let alone the issues. And a lot of times she was just expressing very honestly and openly, and that's what I liked about it. She was expressing very honestly and openly the realism of what happens when you go and you take care of your parent and they have dementia, which is a stronger aspect, because now they're not themselves and you don't know how far that is going to go. So um, she talked, I hope some of you've seen it, but she also talked about, like, accepting it. You know, the first part is accepting it, and then you have to take action. And also how, when you first approach it, you have to find out about what's going on. And her mom didn't even know her medicines that she was taking. She was on medicine for it, but she didn't know what she was taking. She had a question mark on her pills and stuff like that. So Hasmin had to go and find out what's going on. And at that time, then she had a rude awakening that she was able to talk to the doctor, but the doctor was not answering the phone calls of the people who were calling the office. And she had to go there in person and just tell them off and find another neurologist. That really,
Wow.
the reason why her mom was sick was because of the medicine that the original neurologist was giving her. So it's pretty deep that when you're a caregiver, you have to be an advocate, and sometimes you got to speak up, and you have
My
yeah,
goodness.
yeah, and after she changed the neurologist and they gave her different medicines and took off these medicines that were making her sick, she's better. She's better. She's able to function, and everything started working out. So it was very good. It's a very good show. I don't know if you've seen it, but it talks. She talked about support. Everybody doesn't have a lot of support.
Hmm.
She had support, but she made it clear that she was a primary support, and they did what they could. So everybody doesn't jump in, and everybody doesn't can't do that. It's not, you know, they don't have it in them to be the primary caregiver. But the stuff that they did, like one of her sisters, I believe, did research for her, found this beautiful, beautiful place for her mom to go to, and as a senior place for her to go to, and that dealt with dementia. And now her mom is very happy. She's outgoing. She's has friends and stuff like that. So, sometimes when you're trying to take care of them, you don't have time to shop around. You don't have
Hmm.
time. You kind of take the first place that comes or the place that's the closest, and that's not always the best place. The places that's the closest is not always the best place. So please remember that you have to look for a place. So if you need help, reach out to somebody, maybe a family member, maybe a friend, to say, I don't have time to research this. Can you research this for me? Because you don't want to send your parent to just the closest place for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah.
Well, so I don't think I properly said hello to everybody. Hey, everybody. Because Francine talk about support. Francine, you got some support in the building today. Okay.
Hi.
They talking in the comments to each other. I love it. I love to see it. Hey, everybody. As always, let us know where you're watching from. And share this live broadcast with someone. I love to see y'all chatting in the comments. Deborah Robinson said, hold on, I'm trying to add it to the thing. She says many folks don't know how to jump in and help or don't want to. And that is so true.
That's
That
true.
is so true.
Everybody doesn't know how to. Well, many of us don't know how to. Even the ones who want to don't know how to. We just kind of step up and do it. But
Mm-hmm.
also, some people don't want to. The thing of it is to be honest and say, tell your sister, brother, cousin, or whatever. I don't want to change mommy. I don't want to be that involved, but I can do. Tell us what you can do. Don't tell us what you can't do.
Yeah.
Tell me what you can do. You may be able to take them to the doctor. You may be able to go shopping for them. You may be able to just sit with them. I can give you a couple of hours on Wednesday and Friday and Saturday. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you can do. Somebody you can do something. People, they may not want to, but they can do something. I believe everybody can do something that will help, because if not, everything falls on the primary person, and that's a lot. And reach out. Don't wait until they ask you. Don't wait until they ask you. Reach out and say, I may not be able to do this, and I don't have the availability to be here and sit with mom or dad or whatever, or auntie, but I can do. Tell them what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
That helps. Knowing that somebody is there willing to support you, that helps, because sometimes the caregiver doesn't always want to ask. They feel like they're burdening you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So, as a caregiver, do you find that, when people do share what they can do, are caregivers usually understanding about that?
Well, I think that it's appreciative, um, but it depends on the relationship, I guess. Because if it's like your sister and brother and we're all equal, it's like sometimes you might feel like, hey, think you should tip in just as much as I should. That's real.
Mm-hmm.
But for caregivers, just to understand, if you are in that situation, just to understand that um, everybody's different. Try not to take that personal, and try not to get caught up in that, because you don't have the time or energy to do that. Bottom line, you are
Mhm.
so busy trying to take care of yourself and your other responsibilities and your parent, that you don't have the time to get into that. So if the person that you think should be equal in sharing the responsibility doesn't, just try not to get caught up in that. Keep doing what you're doing. Your parents need you, so just do what you got to do, and try not to. Sometimes you might have to call a friend and just vent to them about your brother or sister that's not cooperating, or not putting their full weight. It's okay, but try to keep it moving and do what you can do. It would be
Mhm.
appreciative from your loved one.
Love that. So Deborah said that she's learned through her experiences that they won't ask.
Yeah, I know. I think people won't ask, and I may not be correct about this, but I think people won't ask because they're afraid you're going to say, "Well, here, take something big." You know what I mean? Like I
Mm-hmm.
think the people who won't ask uh, don't want to do a lot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's like they don't want to ask because they don't want to do a lot. So, um, which I don't know. Some people are like that, and it's sad. It's sad that they don't want to do a lot.
Yeah, I think opening up the conversation though could help. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we're having conversations like this right now that could possibly help someone else have a conversation in their home, right? And I think, like you said, people are different, and just being open and honest and having communication could really help. Like maybe as a caregiver, if you're saying that people don't usually ask because they're thinking you're gonna give them something huge to do, right? Maybe just saying like, hey, any way that you can help, is going to be good, or I don't know.
That's good, but speaking from my point of view, that's good, but you don't feel like, say if it's not a brother or sister, say if it's an aunt, say if it's a cousin, say if it's you, sometimes you feel like you have more responsibility because it's your parent or something like that. That's one. Also, because sometimes you feel like, you're right here, you're seeing this, why do I have to ask you? You know what I'm saying? That's a real,
Yeah.
why do I have to ask you? I
Mm.
see Lucy Shields says so true. She says so true. Hi, Lucy. She
Yeah,
said
yeah.
so true. So she's obviously have experienced some of this, because everybody just doesn't jump in like you expect them to, whether it's your sister, brother, whatever, they don't. And people personalities are different, and people relationships. It depends on relationship too. If you didn't have a good relationship with your, siblings don't always have a good relationship. Parents don't always have a good relationship with their children. So sometimes if you don't, you kind of feel like, well, since you the favorite, you know how people are. People are, since you the favorite, or since you always was taking care of everything, do it now. You know what I'm saying? People,
Yikes.
even if they don't say it, sometimes where that's coming from. You do.
Yeah, it can get messy. Oh my goodness. Can we give people any tools so that I mean, listen, people are people. This stuff gets messy. But are there any tools that we can give them for it not to be so messy?
Yeah, listen to shows like this ahead of time before you're in a situation, so you
Yeah.
understand and you figure out which one you want to be. Because sometimes people, it's not, they need to see a mirror. They need to see it in front of them. They need to say, yes, you know,
Yeah.
this person went through all of this, you know, maybe I should help out. Some people are not
Mhm.
even thinking about it. They're going about their lives. They're just going about their lives. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Lizette and Deborah are having a conversation in the comment section, okay?
Mhm.
The final thing that I read was Lizette said, I agree, but sometimes we have to meet people where they are at where they are at to get the help that you need. So basically they're having a conversation about, kind of like what we were talking about, like should you have to ask?
Yeah, well, if you do ask, sometimes you get help. Sometimes you do get help, but sometimes you don't, and sometimes you do feel like you shouldn't have to ask. It's like sometimes some things are obvious. Like if my parent is hard to can't walk, and you know that everything that they do, I've got to make sure that everything is set up for them so I can get them up, lift them up. It's hard to lift up persons sometimes. Lift them up, put them in the wheelchair, get them out, get them to the car, get them in the car, get them out, fold up the wheel. If you know that, or I have to do all of that to take them out, you can't help me. You can't come home and say, what day are you going to see? What day are you going to take mom or dad to the doctor? I'm gonna be. I may not can go with you, but I can help you get them in the car, or I can meet you when you come back and make sure I can help you get out. There are so many things that you can do. You know what I'm saying? There are so many things. So there's no excuse for not helping. I don't care who you are. Now, I don't know the level of help, that's up to you, but there's no excuse for not helping. So I think I see this. Oh, hello, God, sister. Thanks for your invite. I definitely need to be here to watch this. Oh, hi. I'm glad. I hope you get some encouragement.
All right. So Vanessa has a comment here. Let's see what she says. It always seems like when a sibling sees you doing everything, they step back and kind of say, "Hey, she's doing everything, so I don't need to do anything." Yeah. So it's similar to
Yeah.
what you were saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but sometimes that's an excuse. Sometimes that's an excuse, and some things are common sense. Like I said, if you see them really struggling, come on. But some people will distance themselves. You know what I'm saying? So this way they don't have to see it.
Yeah.
They don't have to see it, and it's a shame that sometimes you have to ask and speak up. But see what happens, and then if they don't, after you ask, you don't have to. You shouldn't have to keep asking. They should step up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you guys. It's so many people on here tonight. This is amazing. And thank you for liking and loving the
Oh,
live today. Make sure you share it with somebody who needs it. Like Lucy said, she definitely needed to be here to watch this conversation today.
yeah.
So thank you for hopping on. So we have another comment. I'm gonna read it first before I put it on the screen. It says, my problem was I didn't accept help from friends because I thought it should be the family's responsibility. I later realized that God does send you help, the help you need. Don't worry about whom He sends. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great comment. Because a lot of times, like I said before, sometimes caregivers feel like, it's my responsibility. You know what I mean? So you're gonna do it. And you have people that are outside of your family that would help you, but then people outside of your family are probably thinking, if you got 5 brothers and sisters, they're probably thinking, well, obviously they're getting help from their brothers and sisters. They may be outside looking in and say, of course, she or he is not doing it by themselves. But
But they
later on you
might
find out
be.
they might be,
Hmm.
and then you feel a responsibility, like, I shouldn't have to ask my family for help. And then other people from outside will step in. God will give you who you need to help you, and even
Hmm.
also, don't hesitate to get support from outside. And I don't mean just your friends, but I mean like support from agencies and things like that. Don't be afraid to ask for it. There's some things that are out there that are free, or there's some things that are out there that are for people depending on the illness and stuff like that. Don't be afraid to ask for it. Get the help that you need, because everything that you do, it also is going to break down you too if it's too much. If you
Hmm.
are always spent trying to make sure they have food, trying to go out, trying to do your job, or if you have a 9 to 5, it's gonna break you down, you know, and that's something you have to think about, and you got to keep in your mind. It's hard to do that. It's hard to do that. So thank you, Jackie Johnson, for that comment. I appreciate that. But yeah, so when we were talking to Hasmin um, on the show, she had, fears of her mom had fears of the nursing home, that when was they finally said dementia, because she said nobody was saying dementia to her. So when they finally said dementia, and they had a family meeting to talk about it, her first thing her mother said was, "Don't put me in the home. Don't put me in the home. Don't put me in the home." Her mother knew
Hmm.
something was going on with her, but she didn't exactly know what. So she was frightened about that. And when she said that, they just assured her that they wouldn't put her in the home, and she knew that she had to stay there to make sure that she was going to be taken care of. And that's another thing, you know, it's a fear. Your parent may not say anything to you because they're afraid that if they say something to you, you might put them in a home, or they may not be able to stay home. So if they're not able to stay home, and you think that your kids may not step up or do it or can do it, like you think, Say if her mom realized that she lives in Brooklyn, I live in Arizona, so she may not be thinking like she's going to stop her life and come take care of me. You know what I'm saying? So she
Mhm.
might not say anything. She might not see, like she might know something's going on with her, but she might not say anything because of fear of like, oh, well, if she's over there and my family lives elsewhere, where else is there for me to go but to home? So I'm going to try to make it as best as I can, going to the doctor. That's it. So yeah,
Wow,
it's
that's interesting. So I'm gonna read this comment, but I want to say first, like again, it brings us back to having these conversations,
mhm.
because even with your parents, even with your elders, like before things happen, like just having these conversations that are not comfortable about, will you come to their aid when if they get ill, or
Right.
what that will look like. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So
Yeah, so
yeah.
they won't have to have those fears. But Elizabeth Hill, she said, "I wish that I
Hi,
had an
Elizabeth.
She said, "I wish that I had an opportunity to take care of my parents. They left so fast. They
Oh
got
wow.
sick, and it was over. This is why I love to care for people." Mm.
Wow, wow, that's really deep. Oh, I'm sorry you didn't wasn't able to do that. And sometimes that happens. And you know what? That's a great comment because, sometimes we don't appreciate it. We don't appreciate the privilege of being able to take care of our parents. We don't appreciate the privilege of being able to give back to them what they gave to us. So
Yeah,
sometimes, that's really good to realize that some people didn't get this opportunity. You
yeah.
know, some people didn't get a chance to do this. And though it's hard, but it's something that's rewarding. And that's one of the things that Hasmin said. She was so surprised that it was a journey. Like in the beginning, the first year, she said it was hell. She said just it was just hell. She said the first year was hell.
Mm.
But she said once she got her medicines together, her sister got a place for her. Sometimes the dad comes over and makes food and stuff like that. So once they got everything together, they got a system together. She said that it's like now her and her mom has the best relationship ever that they've ever
Mm.
had. Like she is so privileged and so blessed to be able to take care of her mom. And because she's a comedian, she says she never really was vulnerable when she was a comedian. She said stuff about things, but she never really opened up. When
Mm.
her mom, like she said, she would hear comedians go on before her talking about their parents who has Alzheimer's or dementia, and she would get, because she's going through it and they didn't know,
Yeah.
she'd get teary eyed and like, oh my God, I gotta get up, get ready because I gotta get out here and make these people laugh. But she would feel it.
Mm.
Then she started using it in her routine. And she's like,
Wow.
it's the best thing. It is the best thing because she said people connect to her.
Mm-hmm.
Off
Mm-hmm.
off stage, people come to her all the time and say, "Hey, my mom has this, my dad has this, or you made me laugh about something that's so hard and so difficult, and we're going through it now." So
Yeah.
it actually added to her show and her job that she does. You know what I mean? So there's
Yeah.
blessings. There's blessings that come out of it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. Just a little comment about that. I think in anything you do, when you're authentic and vulnerable, it adds to what you have going on.
Yeah.
It's like, even with, we talk a lot about Artemis here and your platform, and even the other things that you do, and how you're beginning to see the connection, or the common thread between it all.
Mhm.
But that took you being vulnerable and open to talk about your situation, to be able to see those connections. So,
Yeah.
I'm always trying to give the people a takeaway. If you're not a caregiver, that's something huge, like to be authentic and be vulnerable with what you're going through.
Mm.
And it helps you find your people.
Oh,
Like the people who are on live today.
okay.
So Miss Johnson said, I like that, friend. It is a privilege. They take care of us without hesitation, but we think about taking care of them. Mm,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. We think about taking care of them. We think about taking care of them.
Ooh.
And it gets comes from a different place too. It's kind of like, um, in your mind, you're progressing, you're moving forward, having your kids, you're doing that. They're getting older. This is how life's supposed to go. But then when they get sick, it stops.
Mm,
It's like, okay, kind of let's go. We're going backwards because I gotta go back and think about mom and dad who are taking care of themselves. Everybody's going around. Your kids are doing good. They're married. They're having kids. Your life is moving on. Their life is moving on. Mom and dad is traveling all over, and then they get
Then
sick.
all of a sudden it
So
goes
now you have to
backwards.
backtrack. You have to say, oh,
Mm,
wait a minute. And that's, it's kind of like, okay, now we got to think about this. You weren't thinking about everything else because it was just how life was going.
mm-hmm,
But now
mm,
you have to think about it like, who's gonna help, and what can I do? You know what I'm saying? What can I do?
mm.
So
Wow.
it's heavy. It's heavy,
Yeah, it is. Hi,
but
Monique. I'm sorry. Hi, Monique. Thanks for hopping on.
hi, thank you. But it's look for help, look for support any way you can, whether it's outside support or whatever. You look for support. Tell people. The one thing about caregivers, sometimes you hold it to yourself. Tell people. Sometimes you can have a great day, like you can have great weeks, and then sometimes it gets really hard, or the illness gets heavier. The things,
Mm,
they break down more, and if they break down more, that's more responsibility for you, or the pressures of maybe interfering with your job. You know what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? Things like that, or financial issues where you want your mom or dad to have this treatment or whatever, and you can't afford it. And the pressure of it, or feeling not being able to take care of your parent the way they should be taken care of. It's a lot of pressure.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Lucy said that my church family or friends helps me at times because family is far away. It's hard sometimes to carry all the weight by yourself. They are my go to people at times to vent as well. And she's talking about her church family,
Oh, okay.
as they pray for me sometimes. Personally, for me, not saying I don't have support from family or loved ones, but it's nice to have people who are closer to help as well. Everyone doesn't have the privilege to get help from their siblings, etc., and that's okay too.
Yeah, that is. It's good that you have a church family. Um, that's good because sometimes people don't know what you're going through, even in your church. And
Hmm.
you could be a church person, go there every day, and people don't really know. And I believe in my church that they didn't know. I think they knew in
Mm.
general. I think they knew in general that my mom's sick or she's nursing home or something like that, whatever.
Yeah,
But I don't think they knew in
in
detail
detail.
because I wasn't saying that's not something that like I was talking about or saying or having big conversations
Wow.
about it. So they didn't know. So how would they know how to help me? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Because it wasn't
Mhm.
something that we were talking about. So it's good that Lucy, you have that church family around you that knows about it and is stepping in to help you. Take the help wherever you can. Take the help wherever you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. So,
yeah.
Francine, what was your favorite part about this interview?
I really enjoyed the interview because she was just open and very honest. And I like the fact that it grew into her best relationship with her mom.
Mm,
We kind of sometimes we get, a little bit upset or why me and stuff like that. And she stepped in, not knowing what she was going to step into, and fighting for her mother. And then her relationship grew that it's the best. She's so happy. She's happy she's changed her life and moved out there, even though she lives with a bunch of people who are older and whatever. She's enjoying it. She's enjoying um, how the place that she goes to, the adult daycare, takes care of her mom and gets them stimulated, and that she feels so proud that she doesn't have to send her mother to her home, and that everybody is saying, oh my god, your mom looks so good and stuff like that, because it's her. And what I like about it is that she takes that compliment. She's like, yeah, it's because of me. She feels proud. She feels proud that she stepped in. She's like, she sees the difference. She sees the change. Because like I said, when she got there, her mom was sick. So she sees the change and everybody's seeing the change. So it's awesome. That is so
I
awesome.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Wow, what
Uh,
a journey they went through to get to that point.
yeah.
Elizabeth said my mom had 13 siblings. All of them has passed except one uncle, and now I have an opportunity to help take care of him because he has developed a little dementia and his children live in Virginia. So I'm happy to look out for him because my uncle always looked out for me, especially when my mom passed. So I'm giving back to him. Love that,
There you
Elizabeth.
go. It doesn't have to
Love
be
that.
your parent. It doesn't have to be a parent. It could be your uncle or your aunt or your grandparents or somebody. It doesn't have to be your parents. So that's really awesome that you're doing that, and now you're getting you're getting a chance to do that, and to get a chance to take care of a family member. So that's really good, and I'm glad. I'm
I
glad.
love that. I love that. I think when we have conversations like this, we realize that there are more caregivers out there than we know,
Oh,
and we're not alone. Well,
yeah,
caregivers are not alone in
yeah.
their journey.
Yeah, and that's why this is a support for caregivers. I see Jackie has something. Help is
Jackie said
whoever
something.
offers.
Oh yeah,
Help is
yeah.
whoever
Uh-huh.
offers. I learned the hard way. Accept it. Yeah, and sometimes we learn the hard way. I had to go through it the hard way, really, because I didn't know, and nobody around me was dealing with that. So yeah, I had to learn the hard way too, and I didn't even know that I could ask for help from agencies or support. I didn't know anything like that. So yeah, accept the help. If you get the help, accept the help. When I started my podcast, the very first one I did, I remember one of my friends calling me, a very close friend, and she said, I didn't know it was like that. Now she's a close. She said,
Mm.
I didn't know it was that hard. She said, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
you know Sometimes we assume people know, but they don't.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're not, so it's really good. I appreciate this interview. That she was really, if you haven't seen the show on Autumn is Here, go to look at the show. It's really very good. It's very open and honest. And she shared a lot of good points. She shared just a lot of good points, and a lot of things to maybe look out for, especially speaking up for a parent and getting the proper medicine and stuff like that. These are all important things. And support from the family, saying that it's not always full support, but some support is good, and it has helped her. And it's such a gift. She said it's such a gift to be able to take care of her parents. So it's just a really a light. Her lifestyle has changed, but for the better, which is really good. So I thought that was very good. So
Love it. All right,
okay,
y'all. This has
thank
been a
you,
great episode of My Two
thank you
Cents.
so
I love
much.
it. So many people hopped on and shared some amazing insight with us, and it's just been amazing. Francine, I'm going to let you do the closeout. And thank you for having me each Thursday with you.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
All right.
So I just wanted to say thank you all for coming out. And if you know anybody who needs any help or stuff like that, think about it. Look around you. There might be an older person without any help, or there might be somebody who in your church that may be going through. Maybe they're a caregiver, like I was a caregiver that nobody knew. Maybe you notice something, or somebody, one of your parishioners, or something like that. Please. Let us take care of each other. We have to realize that community is very important, especially in this time, in this time that we're in right now. Community is very important. Look out for your neighbor, look out for your loved ones, look out for your church member, look out for your family, and make plans. Try to make as much plans as you can. It's not going to be totally smooth, but if you have some plans, or discuss it ahead of time with your family. Don't wait until mommy is 87 and you're like, oh, what to do. If mommy and daddy are 70 and they still doing good, sit your family down. Say, you know what, this is not going to last forever. What's the plan? Are they going to live with somebody who can take care of them? Who's going to, you know what I'm saying? So my thing is just really try to plan ahead of time and talk to your family members. And if you are a senior and you're on here, talk to your family. You can talk to them ahead of time. You can talk to them first. You can say, listen, if something should happen to me, this is what I want, whatever. Please initiate the conversation. That's the biggest thing. And don't say I didn't tell you. I didn't know, but here on Autumn is Here, and my 2 cents, I'm telling you that there are things that we can do ahead of time, and that is not easy being a caregiver. And you can do it, but always try to get support however you can. Accept support. So please take some of these key things to it, and it's good to pay it forward. With your parents, it's good to pay it forward. It's a gift and a blessing to pay their care forward. So, all right. Well,
Love
thank you.
it. All right, y'all. Yeah, so make sure you go listen to Autumn is Here wherever you listen to your podcast. That's why we're here, because to let y'all know, go listen, because the episode is good. Okay. All right. Francine, I will see you
Okay.
next week.
All right. See all y'all next week, I hope. I hope that we blessed you tonight and we gave you some good information. Thank you for participating also. Thank you for participating.
All
And
right.
and
See
thank
you
you for
guys.
being from all over. I see South Carolina in the house. I see Delaware in the house. I see
Yes.
Texas in the house. So thank you all for being from everywhere. All right.
Love it. All
And
right.
Brooklyn. All right.
Brooklyn in the
Yeah.
house. Hey. All right. Good night, y'all. Talk to
Good
you next
night.
week.
Thank you. Bye bye. Oh, Emerald. Stop.
We're trying to end the stream. You may have to end it, Francine.